All right, we are excited for another episode here. This time we're excited to sit down with Dylan Fitzgerald, one of our newest agents here at Colliers, Utah. And we're so excited to have you on the team and also to sit down with you today.
Yeah, no, thank you. This is exciting.
Well, good. Well, let's get to know you first. You're a new face to our company. A lot of people here at Mill Rock and the downtown office have seen you, but could you give us a little bit of your backgroround?
Yeah, I grew up in New York, in a small town called Palisades. It's about 20 minutes outside Manhattan. It was a small little suburb, but I moved here about 8 years ago. Love Utah. I've always been interested in, big real estate, kind of growing up in New York and seeing Manhattan.
Mm-hmm. So you came here without knowing anyone, though?
Yeah, no
So
one.
what drew you here?
Well, since fourth grade, actually, I just knew I wanted to be in Utah.
Wow.
At that point, I had done some hikes and went snowboarding, and I just loved it here. So
Cool.
I'm a pretty decisive person, and I said one day I'll move to Utah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you came here, went to the University of Utah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I got into real estate here full time. My family, my great grandpa, he was the owner of a construction company. My great grandpa was an architect. My grandma does a ton of property management in Germany. So I'm a dual citizen. They built a lot of Munich after World War II. So kind of growing up, I didn't come from that, but hearing family stories, I was always interested in how do you build. I was interested in the builders, and then seeing New York and growing up right outside Manhattan, I always saw the skyline, and I didn't realize how much of a impact that would have on me and the way that I would turn out. But I moved to Utah, and you'd think that New York is the place to be if you want to be in real estate. But the cool thing about Utah is that it has the opportunity to create. It's not saturated, and I feel like I could really have my own impact here.
Well, you already are. That's awesome. So dual citizen from Germany and the United States.
Yeah.
Say something in German for us.
What do you want me to say?
What's something about real estate or something about building?
Oh, that's a tough one. German is a really complicated language. I want to say I'm fluent. Business German is very difficult.
And I put you on the spot there. Anyway, I think that's really cool. Your upbringing is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And in fact, the first time we met, we talked about New York real estate and my interest in it too. And you gave me a book to read about it, which I loved. And we've been having great conversations ever since.
Yeah, it's been really awesome being here. I mean, this is an amazing company, and I feel like I really have the opportunity to think and go outside the box and actually have the support to pull it off in a really big way. So
well, good, and we'll get to that too. I want to hear what brought you to Colliers. You have an exciting project that you're working on, and we're going to talk a little about that. And then it has an interesting backstory. So I want to take us back to that story where this idea in the middle of the night came.
Yeah. So we're putting together one of the largest residential real estate development initiatives in the entire United States in history. Since 1947, William Levitt, he was considered the Henry Ford of housing. And, one thing about me, I've done a lot of work on, myself and kind of stripping away some limiting beliefs. And I've always been inspired by, the people who have changed the world, and recognizing that they also have, 24 hours in a day. And they're also people in different times with different opportunities. And so I've really allowed myself to live my life driven by my spirit and what I feel in any given day, and then support that with the knowledge and the education to turn that into action. But this project to build 35,000 homes is really a monumental initiative, and has been really complicated to put together. But to go back to the start, I was actually in Germany at the time. It was 8-hour time change from here, and I woke up randomly at 3 a.m. And there's something interesting about 3 a.m, which I didn't realize, but a lot of great songs, a lot of great inventions were thought of at 3 a.m. Yesterday by the Beatles, and I didn't recognize that, but I had an intuitive feeling that I needed to go on my phone, check LinkedIn. Went on LinkedIn. The first post I saw was from the governor. It was really basic post. There was almost no information about it, but it was talking about affordable housing and that we have, this crisis. And I guess at 3 a.m, my creativity was at its peak. And at that moment, I reached out to, the governor's office and asked, how can I help? How can I support this? There was no ask. I wasn't asking for permission on anything. I wasn't, asking for help in any way, but I believed in finding a solution to this thing and turning it into a really, large scale execution pathway and not just a plan. And it got me really fired up and inspired. So, me and my team, we from that day on, we said, what if we help the state with this? Like, what if we were the team that turned that plan, those ideas into a reality, which at the time was a ridiculous thing to say. Where we were, it was an impossibility. There was just there's no chance. Like no one would think to do that.
Right.
It's just
so big.
it's a crazy
Right.
it's a crazy thing. And our initial goal was 2,200 homes. That turned into 5,000 homes. That turned into 11,000 homes, 22,000 homes, and then 35,000 homes. Because as we've turned that belief into action and just daily action, we've been able to assemble the top companies in the state and create a really cool initiative that not only has the ability to do 35,000 homes, but now we kind of have a moral and ethical responsibility to, because when you're talking about 35,000 homes, you have real estate's incredibly permanent, and we want to make sure that we're doing it in a way that really aligns with the public's best interest, and assemble all the top companies in the state to focus on one common goal that benefits the people for once. I don't want to say for once, but truly, that benefits the people. And we just did that. We didn't think about us. It wasn't about us. It was like, how can we provide value and actually pull this off and get people on board for an initiative like this? So it's been a really cool project. Really cool.
So all the real estate agents watching this are going to have a million questions right now, like, what's your role in this? How is this happening? And all of that.
Yeah.
And I know we can't get into all of it right now,
Yeah.
but what are some maybe high level details you could share?
It is complicated, and there are so many things that we just it's taking. I think it's always kind of difficult to take months of work and consolidate it down into a couple minutes. But on a high level, we've realized that it's not about taking ownership in this project. It's about assembling people. It's dropping the ego, which has been a big thing for me. I've had my ego checked a ton of times, and I let it happen. And realizing that it has nothing to do with me. Like, this has absolutely nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with my team. This has to do with how can we provide a value to other people. And we've, I think believing in that, truly, authentically believing in the value that we want to provide. When I've gone to, send emails to some of the top executives in the state, they actually think I'm out of my mind a little bit. They think I'm crazy.
Right.
And everything feels like a Hail Mary. Like I'm just gonna see what happens. And at one point when it was 2,200 homes, it was big. It was a big initiative, but it wasn't unbelievable. And I put it all on the line for this, and I put my reputation on the line to reach out to these companies, knowing that I'm like, this directly impacts my image, my brand, to say something and make commitments to people that I don't know if I can keep, but knowing for a fact that I'm going to keep them, and trusting that I'll figure it out. So as I've sent emails and I started saying, we are building 35,000 homes, and we want you to be a partner in this, said with conviction and confidence. It's unbelievable, and a lot of them have thought I was scamming them and thinking that this was just some type of scam. They did some research on me and realized that, this is real. But did they think we could pull it off? Probably not. But in the off chance that we could, it was big enough for them to want to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. And because of that, and because of the confidence that we've had, and because of the partners that we've brought into it, it wasn't just us. Now we have the backing of 5 companies, mm-hmm. 5 of the best companies in the state. Now it's 10 of the best companies in the state. Now it's 90 plus companies that are all participating in this project. Maybe even over 100 companies that are participating in this project.
And that's a mix of builders, financial institutions,
banks, supply chain partners, trade schools, workforce development, all the people that help on a daily basis, Colliers, obviously. And it's grown, which is also why that number has grown on the amount of homes we could do. But as we've continued to work on it, people realize that, like, if we all believe in it now, because there's this endorsement, because there's a team behind it. Mm-hmm. It's not about us. It's the team that we've assembled that really makes things possible. And I think that's a huge part of being able to pull something like this off. I mean, just in real estate transactions, just on the 35,000 homes, this isn't about what we are going to do in other states and other countries, because Colliers is international. We want to replicate this. We want others to do the same thing. But just on this specific project, the 35,000 homes, it's over $20 billion in real estate transactions, which is...
Yeah, these are big numbers. Yeah, really, really exciting, and it'll be fun to follow and fun for our Colliers, Utah, to be part of what you're doing. I feel like the word assembly comes up a lot in what you're working on, because you're assembling land and you're assembling partners, assembling a process, and I love that. I think that's part of your superpowers. So tell me, you talked about mindset a second ago. Mm-hmm. So, and over working out some limiting beliefs. Most people watching this are not going to be doing this. They're not going to try and solve the housing crisis, right? That's a big thing, and I love that you're working on it. How can they take what you've learned about mindset and action and apply it to any project?
Well, for me, like I grew up in New York, which was extremely noisy. I didn't have any time to just think and feel. Mm-hmm. So I started meditating when I was really young. I've been journaling my whole life, turning my thoughts into, linear, your thoughts are chaotic, and writing it down turned it into something linear. Mm-hmm. And that always helped me. But, it's been a lot of self-reflection and, figuring out what inspires me and giving myself a space to feel. Mm-hmm. I think we go through life in a very fast pace, and usually it's driven by our thoughts, not how we feel. It's weird because every other animal, goes off intuition, except for like humans, because we have such a big brain, I guess. Mm-hmm. But we still have that. Mm-hmm. And if you give yourself some space to feel things and live with that feeling, and then attach action to it, that's been what has driven me. But a lot of those limiting beliefs are, the contradiction between what your thoughts are telling you and what your feelings are telling you and what your spirit's telling you. Mm-hmm. And that's societal, that's, in your family. Those are personal beliefs that you've grown up with. And for me, I've had a ton of limiting beliefs, but it's just like telling my brain to stop thinking sometimes and just let myself feel what I want. And then whatever I feel, that's what I put my action into.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of work on who you are, not just your projects, but like yourself, which is really great. Give us a little high level of your team. You have a few teammates with you. What are their names?
Yeah, Don, Tony, Jamie. It's hard because it's not just our team. We have, our core team who, is doing the daily stuff with us. But what's cool about this project is it's all the teams, like the teams I have teams with, I'm on the board for the CCIM, Beehive Energy, Habitat for Humanity, and then all the other companies, and the workforce development piece of this to create 50,000 jobs in the trades and 250,000 jobs across the economy. That's a team that we're working on directly with trade schools. They don't really touch the builder side until we have the workforce developed, and the builders need new labor. So there's silos, and for us, it's all about teams. It's all about creating the top performing teams by assembling the top performing teams that already exist. All of these companies, have a proven track record, and they're already the best. So, tapping into that and recognizing that you don't have to reinvent the wheel and hire all these people and, do this internally. They're out there, but taking everyone and aligning them on one common goal, that's all a team, cool. Which I think is really unique about how we've structured it.
Right. You've done an amazing job getting people lined up, and Colliers is proud to be part of that with you.
Yeah.
So you're here at Colliers. You're loving it here. Tell us why you came to Colliers and what you've enjoyed about it.
To be honest, I've looked into a ton of different realms of real estate, very interested in, private equity, capital markets, development, brokerage. Real estate's an infinite field. There's so many different opportunities to pursue in real estate. It's not just I work in real estate. Well, what part of real estate? But I feel like being a broker, you have the ability to get creative and think outside the box if you want to. There's a way to be a broker, and I think there's standards around that, but you also don't have to, and I think that's really cool. So when I was looking into what I wanted to do and just feel it, there is first it's knowing that like I am who I hang out with, and I want to be at a place that elevates me, because I can't do what I want to do if I'm not surrounded by the best.
Right.
So no shade on anyone else, but Colliers felt to me like the obvious choice for what we wanted to pursue.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
I know our marketing team has jumped in, worked on some projects with you, and we're all catching the vision of what you're working on.
It's insane. Like I've never seen systems like that, and it has been so helpful. And I mean, nimble. Like we feel like we can actually do what we want to do and have the support to do that. We didn't have that before at all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be more news coming out with the state of Utah and other things about this project and about the things that you're working on. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
More to come. Your office is here in Mill Rock, kind of in the retail area near Rich Robbins, in that corner there. Your team's there.
Yeah.
Brainstorming, working hard. You can see the smoke coming off of your heads. You're doing great things.
Yeah. And it's been amazing to be here. I love moving around. I like going to the downtown office. But the point of this project is really for it to be duplicated. And one thing that we've talked a lot about is bringing this solution, because everyone in the country is facing the same problem, and having the support and the company to replicate this model in other places and help other states and other countries solve their housing issues and real estate issues. So we do want to do that and travel and consult and help other people, and we don't need to take ownership in that, but consult for others, and I feel like we could do that at Colliers.
Yeah, that's exciting. Every conference I go to and every magazine I pick up has something about the housing crisis.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about it, everyone's worried about it, but you're actually doing something about it.
Well, there's always, like, everyone always talks about certain problems, but like someone's going to fix it at some point. And I think the limiting belief for most people is when they see a problem, well, someone will fix it. Well, why can't we fix it?
Yeah. Why can't we be the
why can't we just do it? If we get the right people on board, and we have the right information and the right skills and the right amount of effort and action, well, we can do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, love having you here. Thanks
Yeah.
for the
No,
conversation
thank
today.
you.
And I'm so glad you're here at Colliers
Yeah.
with your great team.
Yeah. Thank you. It's great.